So welcome back to the last in the series, it's very sad, of Jesus' last words on the cross. As today we are looking at Jesus' last words, okay? These are the last ones he said. In Luke chapter 23 verse 46, Jesus says this, he says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And these words are amazing for Jesus to say on the cross, okay? Incredible, because look at all what Jesus has been through. Everything on here, he's been through on the cross. Remember, he won our forgiveness. He took our punishment. Remember that separation from God we should have had? Jesus took so that we could be close to him. He finished everything so that now if we put our trust in him, we can be made perfect. And he welcomes us into paradise, remember? He says he'll take us to heaven if we trust in him. And now Jesus, with his last breaths, reminds us and tells us that God our Father is completely trustworthy. We can give him our lives as Jesus, who had been through so much on the cross. With his last breath, he says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Into your hands I give you my life." He shows us that God is completely trustworthy and we should give him our lives. Now here's a question for you. What do you put your trust in? Trust is a weird word, isn't it? And sometimes it can be hard to understand. But often you trust in things without even realising it. It's things you just expect to happen, I guess. Like perhaps you expect your parents to cook you amazing food every day.
Bless you.
Maybe you trust that you'll get presents for your birthday. Or maybe you trust that school will give you work to do. Help me. You see, all those things you put your trust in, you expect they're going to happen. You believe they will happen. And there are other things you probably do that with. Like people will help you, your mum and dad will be there for you. We put our trust in so many things all the time. Well, Jesus on the cross put his trust in God the Father. Put his trust in God the Father that God would do the right thing with his life. Jesus said, "Here's my life, you can have it." And he trusted God even though he'd been through awful things on the cross. He'd been punished, he'd been mocked and abused by other people, but he trusted God with his life. He trusted that even though he'd been punished, it was for the right reasons. And that by being punished, he was setting so many people free. Now, if you trust in Jesus, if you believe he is God and he died on the cross for you, then you can be close again with God the Father. And we can trust in him just like Jesus did. Jesus knew the best place for his life was trusting in God. And that by giving God the Father his life, he was doing the best thing possible. And now we can do that as well. Isn't that amazing? We can give our lives to God and say, "I trust in you. I'm going to follow you no matter where that leads. And even if my life gets hard, I know that trusting in you is right because you are perfect and good and you love me so much and that you're always with me." Isn't that incredible? That is amazing news. That now we can give our lives to God because of all the things that Jesus did on the cross for us. He won our forgiveness. He took our punishment. He finished everything. We can be perfect with him. He brings us to heaven and we can have our lives trusting in God. That's amazing news. I wonder, have you trusted Jesus yet? You can do it today. It's very simple and easy to do. All you have to do is pray to Jesus and say, "Thank you, Lord Jesus, for dying for me on the cross. Thank you for taking my sin, for taking the punishment which I deserve, so that I can be made clean and be with you forever." Isn't that amazing? You can do that today and put your trust in God.